Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Conqueror Gun Carriage. It's the British Tier 10 self-propelled gun, and it's located on the north spawn of Fisherman's Bay. And it's under the command of Premaj 72. Now I'm not sure what that sign is on the side of the vehicle. I think it may be something to do with the wargaming events that's been held in the past, but what can I tell you about the CGC, as it's become known, or the Orbital Laser Cannon, as other people know it? Well, the Conqueror Gun Carriage was a theoretical, supposed design of an SPG that was made from the chassis of the Conqueror tank, mounting a 9.2-inch howitzer. That's a 234mm howitzer. And it acts more like a mortar than a howitzer. Fires around at the IS-7. Oh, damages two tanks simultaneously. Got the Super Conqueror as well with some splash. 10 hit points off him. 168 off the IS-7, and the Super Conqueror has subsequently been hit while stunned. He's right at the very back of the map. Now the thing about the Conqueror Gun Carriage is that it has got a relatively short range. You can see it doesn't extend over the entire battlefield, but the shells do tend to come down almost vertically onto the enemy. So even if the enemy tank is hiding behind a rock, it's not going to help him much. Okay, it looks like he's going to go for the IS-7. Just took massive hits, so I think he's going to go for the Super Conqueror instead. Fires around in, and oh, RNG said no, the shell's not going anywhere near that tank. And he actually landed some distance off, but he's still got 37 hit points of splash. It was very hastily aimed though. He was aiming at the IS-7, he re-aimed at the Conqueror, and it just didn't work. Okay, it's almost reloaded. It's quite a long reload, it's about 30 seconds odd. I think he's going to ignore the E100. There was the Super Conqueror there, but we've lost sight of him temporarily. That Batchat 25 ton is rocking backwards and forwards, but there's the E100. We can see him, and I think Premaj is going to go for him instead. Rounds out. Direct hit. 497, that was a good one. I suspect that that one should have actually penetrated, and he's picked up some stun assists since. Okay. Waiting for the reload to complete. Now they never went ahead and built the Conqueror Gun Carriage. The British Armed Forces actually did produce an Abbott self-propelled gun, and they have bought American armoured self-propelled guns like the M109, the Paladin, and that's 345 hit points off the Super Conqueror, who's now one shot for anyone, 5% himself, and he's gone. Okay, we've got a couple of targets now. The Super Conqueror that we saw, I think it's the same one we saw earlier. We've now got a 60 TP, the Tier 10 Polish tank. 60 ton tank. Lining up a shot on him and trying to get it between the two tanks there. The splash from the CGC is so big that you could probably damage both tanks with one shot. Oh, that's a good one. Direct hit on the Super Conqueror for 353, and he's moving just a little. He only needs to move just a little to get out of the blast zone of the enemy Arty if he decides to fire back. It's a good counter battery procedure. After every shot that you reposition yourself, you've got plenty of time to do so if you've got a long reload. Well, he can't hit the mouse in the city, and that mouse is facing, what, nearly 5 opponents simultaneously. Okay, we're going to go for the E100. Direct hit. 261. It looks like he hit the front armour, in which case then that's why he didn't get as many hit points of damage. But he's certainly picked up a lot of stun assists since, and unfortunately we just lost the 140 who was firing at the Super Conquerors, firing at the enemy. Right, the Super Conqueror in the town's actually taken out the mouse, so it's just the E4 and the IS-7 down the other end. And that E4 is backing away. He knows what's coming. Yeah, he knows that he's about to get hit, not just by a huge number of tanks, but potentially Arty. So he ducks under cover quickly. And so we're looking into the centre. I don't think the enemy on the west side of the battlefield, the Type 5 Heavy, is really interested in moving forward from the windmill. And there's good reason for that. There's an IS-7 and a Death Star ahead of him, and he knows full well if he does come out, he's going to get absolutely jumped on. T-62A. It's a little medium tank with very light armour, can do a lot of damage, lining up the shot perfectly, and...
That was close.
Well, it landed quite some distance in front, but it still gave 188 hit points of damage. So it's quite a good shot if you think about it. If it had been a bit closer, I think it would have done a lot more damage. Of course, the light armour on mediums makes them perfect targets for Arty, because you will get more damage off them than you would through a heavy. And it looks like our force is splitting up. The IS-4 is going one side, the Type 5 is going the other side. But we've got two enemies there, and we're almost loaded, so we can stun them. Rounds out. This should work. Yes, it does! Beautifully! The E4 takes a massive hit for 535. The IS-7 256, and they were both stunned. And we picked up the stun assist. So it's worked out very, very well indeed for our guys, because they've taken down both of those enemies. We're now 4 tanks ahead. The Batchat's moving up to harass the 60 TP and the Super Conqueror. Now, we're only a few seconds away from shooting. Are we going to go to the Super Conqueror or the 60 TP? Well, we've lost sight of the 60 TP. He's marked the ground to say where he's shooting, and
That was close.
again it landed in front. It should have landed on the target. That was perfectly aimed at the Super Conqueror. All it did was stun him and do 377 hit points of damage. And the Super Conqueror's gone. That's good, so we picked up the rest of the stun assist. 60 TP is backing away. And it's not a very smart move. You'll go much faster forward than you will backwards. Sometimes it's better to turn tail and run. They are 4 tanks down now. And they are pushing on the west side at last. Which is surprising, really, considering that there's 3 enemies defending. Or 3 of our guys defending. An IS-7, a Death Star, and a Guerrilla 15. But they are trying to make progress. I'm just a bit surprised that Cremage hasn't noticed that yet. A few shells planted in there would actually do a lot of damage. Oh, that one missed the target by a long range. A huge amount. How could that hit the house when he was aimed at the 60 TP? Yep, he spotted it at last. I must say, I was spotting it and I was thinking, juicy. Look at them all bunched together. Every shot you fire in there is going to do a huge amount of damage to all of them at the same time. So it's going to make maximum damage for your shell. Only a few seconds and he'll be ready to shoot. A Type 5 Heavy, an E100 and a Super Conqueror. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Oh, now they're starting to move around the corner. Oh dear, this is not working out okay now. But they are bunching up still. And yes! That worked out okay. Unfortunately, the IS-7's had to back over the ridgeline, and he is still receiving fire. In fact, he's trapped there because I think he's tracked. But the rest of the team are engaging the Type 5 and the E100 as they move ahead. We've still got a few seconds before we're ready. We lost the Death Star. Just got the Guerrilla who's defending them now. Going for the Type 5 Heavy. We might hit the E100 at the same time. Yes, we do. And that's a good shot as well. So he's up to 4k of damage now, or just short of 4k. Now there are only 4 enemies left on their team, and it appears that 3 of them are over there. Well, 2 of them now, because they just lost their Type 5 Heavy. Just the Super Conqueror and the E100 over this side, and the Arty at the rear. The Arty is a Batchat 155-58, which is why the IS-7 was showing so much stun, because he was hit by that 58. Oh, it hit the house again. He got bad luck there. I don't know why that shell should have hit the house, because it should have gone over into the Conqueror. But there again, I think this is one of the things about wargaming, that when you fire the Conqueror Gun Carriage, sometimes you get this inexplicable shell that goes wayward and just doesn't land anywhere near the reticule. It just hits something else in another postcode. And the enemy's just lost their Super Conqueror, so it's now just the E100. The Batchat 155-58 has gone down, and a nice hit there, 386, and the E100's wiped out a second later, and we are capping, and it's all over. So over 4k damage in that battle. And it's an ace tanker for Cremage72 in the Conqueror Gun Carriage. He also picked up a Bruise medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 15. A Gore's medal for doing more damage than the hit points of his own vehicle. At least 10 times more than the hit points of his own vehicle. And a Confederate medal for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else without getting a kill. In fact, look at all that. That's all of the tanks he hit, but those are tanks that were subsequently taken out by others. So he really did help his team in this battle massively. So let's have a look at team scores. Well, if you look at the damage, you can see that it's actually the 60 TP on the enemy team who picked up the highest amount of damage. He got 6,063. That was the one that was going backwards and forwards in the center of the map. So it was obviously doing a lot of damage to our team, but he didn't pick up the high caliber for some reason. And on our team, it was the Gorilla 15 who did the most. He did 4,898, and then came Cremage with 4,575. When it comes to kills, it was the Gorilla 15 who managed to get the highest amount overall. Then came the IS-7 and Type 5 Heavy and the Super Conqueror. And on the enemy team, Super Conqueror and the 60 TP, they managed 2 kills apiece. But Cremage, he didn't get any kills at all during the battle, but that didn't really matter, because what really matters was the amount of experience that he earned. He earned a huge amount of experience during this battle, 1,231 base experience points. And the reason for that will become obvious, because he was helping his team to destroy the enemy tanks with huge amounts of stun. The Gorilla 15 came in with 1,032. The Batchat 25 managed to get 1,025. So let's have a look at detail. Well, he fired 14 rounds during that battle. He got 7 direct hits, 7 penetration, but quite a few of those shells went very, very wide of the target. Incredibly wide of the target. He did splash damage on 14. Damage of 4,575 hit points, all at more than 300 meters. He hit 11 of the enemy, more than 2/3 of the enemy team he touched, but he didn't get a single kill. But what he did get was 5,374 hit points of stun assistance, of 21 stuns, and that is why he came so high on the base XP. That's why he managed to get the ace tanker. He really did help his team by constantly stunning those tanks and then allowing his team to penetrate them. On a standard account, he earned 65,915 credits. That's a huge amount. But even when you take into account the fact that he was firing shells that cost more than 2,000 credits per round, very expensive, he still managed to make a profit on a standard account of 31,615 credits. And that's the sort of score you'd be quite happy with on a premium account, let alone a standard account. He earned 1,231 XP, base XP, times 2 for the first victory, took away 2,462 experience points for that battle. But it was a really nice ace, and he really was supporting his team. He didn't get the kills, but he was aiming at the tanks which could generate the most bang for the buck, effectively. It was just so unfortunate that some of those shells went astray, because if they'd hit the target, he probably would have ended up with a couple of kills. So, if you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.